Hello everybody, it's Anita here coming on for a daily live. So today we're going to be talking about denial, and just give me a moment, come and join. I'm just going to share this with my group. If you're not part of the group, then totally come and join in. I'm just sorting out the tripod here. Let me know you can see everything okay, you can hear me okay. Happy Easter to you all. Okay, let me just do the sharing bit, so bear with me. More options. This is a bit where I always get confused. Share to page, tap to change. Yeah, I'm teaching you here how to share. Telling you out loud. Okay, how are you? Happy Easter. How's Easter in lockdown? What is going on? What is going on? Strange times, right? Strange times. Okay, so I'm going to share now to my community. Okay, truth. Post. Let's put it up there. Posted. Yay! Okay, so let's get started. So I am attempting to come on daily. So these are extra value pieces I want to give you through this time. There is a weekly masterclass that is very different to these. These are kind of tidbits, but the weekly masterclass that usually features on my group, that is on the button that says visit group at the top of this page. I am now doing on my business page just for a short period of time. Because I want as many women, as many people to be able to benefit from this at this time. So when it's in my private group, obviously that's a private community, and we do a lot of other fun stuff there. So for a short time only, I'm putting the masterclasses weekly up here. They go down after around 48 hours. Can't speak today. And then they will be moved into a paid Facebook group with other resources for those of you that want to continue the journey, because there's so much in those masterclasses. If you know me at all, they are packed full of value, and you get more and more each time you go back. Okay, so just to let you know what that's about. And these are just the daily lives. As much as possible, I'm going to attempt to come on daily. When I can, I'll announce it. If not, I'll come on. If you're here live, wonderful. If you're not, that's okay. You can give me a hashtag replay and let me know you're here and still get that value. Okay, so today, let me get my notes out. Today we're talking about the truth about denial and handling change. So just to go straight out there, if anybody's watching right now, and I can see 2 people are, but unfortunately because I'm on a couple of groups I can't see who that is. So please do comment, because that will help me to see who it is. Oh, I don't want to do that. So we don't want my voice to come up. Hold on, let's see if I can. Let's see if I can open it there. Great. Yeah, so what's important here is that we need to understand that we are, as human creatures, we are in denial. Right? Just bear with me. But absolutely, right? If we are in some level of denial all of the time, okay? Especially if we haven't attempted any kind of inner journey. It depends where you are on that self-development, that self-discovery journey, in terms of how much denial you're in. But it doesn't matter how far down that line we are, even myself or anybody else. It's not that I'm better than you. We can always fall into that, right? I mean, we can become more aware of it and not let it drive the show, but we need to become aware of it in the first place. So first things first, the truth about denial is that we are all in denial, right? To some extent, all right? Each and every one of us. So some more than others, obviously, depending where you are in your journey. So take a moment to rate yourself into how much in denial do you think you may be. So just from 0 to 10, 0 being not at all, I'm not in denial, I know everything that's going on, I'm very clear, and 10, I'm in so much denial because I just don't want to face my shit. and it's too scary for me, and I think everything's fine, so I'm at a 10. So let me know. Yeah. Happy Easter, by the way. Can't believe it's Easter. Doesn't feel like it. So I did get some flowers, which was nice. Because yesterday I said I hadn't got an Easter egg yet, and I would like to say, I mean, the flowers were a surprise, but the Easter egg I was dropping massive hints about. But here in Singapore, we don't really have those. I don't know, those of you from the UK, we have the traditional Easter eggs. You know, I don't know if they're traditional. They're just what we have in the UK, the chocolate eggs, and they're really hard to get here. And I guess particularly at this time, in lockdown, even harder. But I did get some Lindt chocolate there and some flowers, which I thought was pretty cool. He did manage to forget everything that he needed to pick up from the shops, but that's okay. That's okay, right? Small wins. So yeah, let me have it. I did say I'd share with you if I got anything, and I did. So yay! I was going to buy it for myself anyway if I didn't. But let me know. Yeah, I'd love to see your pictures, your selfies of your Easter eggs and what you're doing on Easter as well. And yeah, how you're doing in lockdown. Let me know. We've just had new measures put in with these guys, disposable masks. So we have to wear them now if we go outdoors to go to the supermarket or to get some food, which is really that, and taking a walk or a jog or something, not that I run, but for exercise is all we can do now. But we have to wear a mask, otherwise get a $300 fine, and if not, you can I think they're saying that there's prosecution and jail sentences and things like that. So it's all happening, right? The fear is not real, right? But the fear is there, okay? So anyway, back to the point. Let me know how your Easters are going. Let me know how you're feeling. But I'll take you through this little live today, this little lesson around denial that I've got for you today. So the truth about denial and handling change, right? So what is all around us right now? Change. Change that we were not expecting, that just came upon us like out of nowhere. And it's made us go, what, right? Try not to swear. I do sometimes. And it really took us by surprise, right? It's really come out of nowhere. So, you know, as humans, you know, and this is what I look at a lot with the work that I do, is change. Because essentially, I help people to change. And what I see and what I saw in myself on this journey is that change is like really hard, right? It is really hard. So as humans, we have a hard time with change, right? And we want to just bring our awareness to that. Again, with compassion, guys. With compassion. Again, I'm like, oh, what's wrong with me? Why can't I change? Because there are reasons for that, okay? And it doesn't mean you cannot change. Of course you can, right? It is possible, right? But we need to understand what's going on that's stopping that change from occurring, so we can feel that full level of joy and fulfillment in our life, and lightness and happiness, comfortable in our own skin, no matter what's going on in the world, okay? Making sense. It's not wine, by the way. It's water, I promise. This has been a good detox. This forced retreat that we're having. So this is because we are creatures of comfort, right? As humans, we are creatures of comfort. We don't count ourselves as animals, but and we sort of put ourselves superior to that. But we are not really. You know, we're aligned with all of that, nature and animals, and we have certain ways of being that are very innate, and it's not that they can't be trained out of us, just like you can train some animals, right? Or but we have a higher ability to transform, right? There may be some animals that do too. I don't know much about that. If you do, please tell me, because I know there's so much kinship between humans and animals, because really we're just one of the same, but we like to have this idea that we are a little bit more superior to all of it, and we can, you know, control everything, we can predict everything, and we just got shafted, right? Because we can't. Look what's just happened across the globe, and it's continuing to happen, right? So it's understanding that we are creatures in a way, and we are creatures of comfort, and we like to think as humans, you know, the kind of this old paradigm that we built, and that's built on a lot of masculine energy, if you like. Hi Jennifer, hi Angela, give me some love hearts, happy Easter. Which is built on this old paradigm. I just got something in my eye there, got excited. Is we like to think that we know what's going to happen next, right? Or that we can control it. And that's what keeps us stuck. Because we think we can control it, so we don't move. So we don't live in the present, right? We don't live in the present or in this moment, yeah? So most of us here, you know, I'm not saying most of us, maybe there are people here that don't have the virus, okay? The majority people in the world at the moment don't have the virus. That's not to say that your brother, your sister, and my uncle had it, you know. It's not to say, he's okay now, you know, it's not to say that others have not, but we haven't actually got it, right? It's the fear of it. It's the fear of it that's going on, right? And that we can't control it. So we just say stuck, right? Instead of making movement, right? Let me know if that makes sense. We like to think we can predict, and we love predictability, and we love certainty. It's kind of like our human nature to want this predictability, to want this certainty. We like to think that we know what's going to happen next, and we don't, right? We don't actually, and this has just proven it to us, that we are no more superior than any animal. We are actually part of the same species, if you like, and the same things can happen to us. Okay, hi Emily, nice to see you. So in this desire of wanting everything, this is when we go into denial, okay? That we can predict everything, the future, living in fear, what we think is possible for us, what we think is not possible for us, is all about denial, because as human creatures, we don't like change, right? We find change hard, and we like to be in comfort, and obviously change is going to involve getting uncomfortable, okay? So if you work with anyone like me, you'll know that, right? Because constant uncomfortable to make that transformation, like any growth, just like a child growing and having to learn things, learning to walk and falling over. It's uncomfortable, it hurts, it's embarrassing, right? But they don't call it failing. It's just about, you know, falling forward and learning, right? But as adults, we kind of lose the ability to do that. We lose the ability to do that. We go into this perfectionist-like state, and we just think, oh, we'll settle with what we've got, because that's comfortable, okay? Because I don't know, you know, I wanted it in the past. I thought I wanted it in the past, so I should just stick with it, even if I'm not happy, whether that's a relationship you're in, whether that's the work you're in, and just, you know, well, I decided it, so we kind of cling to an idea that, well, we thought it was going to be like this, but it's not in the present, but we deny that. We cling on to the idea that it will be like this at some point. If you know, you try to get your happiness from the outside, make sense? Or we go to the future, right? And go, well, if I change this situation, or I spoke up for myself and I said what I needed, or I changed it completely and walked out of it, or did something else, then, you know, I would be alone. Maybe I won't have enough money to survive. So we live in the future, which is also not real, right? Because we can't predict the future, right? So let me know if that makes sense. Hi, Clyda. Hi, Visa. That doesn't make sense either. So this is also denial. So the future and the past is just denial, right? Only the present is the truth. How you feel right now, okay? How happy you feel right now, how stuck you feel right now, how trapped you feel right now, and whether you are going to go, you know what, I'm going to stop being in denial, and I'm just going to address that. I'm just going to do some inner work and address that, yeah? Especially when we're on this forced retreat, which a friend of mine said the other day. She said, Anita, I call it a forced retreat. And I was like, that's so good. That's so good. Yeah, for the majority of us that do not have the virus, that's what this is, right? And a staycation. you know, and a real golden opportunity to do this work. Yeah. So that's why I'm talking about this. So in that desire of having that creature comfort of not having change and staying stuck, we create all kinds of fictional stories, okay, to help us believe that we are going to be okay, right? So we just lie to ourselves basically, and have false beliefs about ourselves, our relationships, our work, our abilities, who we are, and we just try to push forward with that, okay, because that's comfort and it's been part of something you already knew in the past, which is denial, right? Because that's not how you're feeling now. It's okay that you felt like that in the past, and it doesn't mean you're going to lose all those things that you've created. It just means you're going to transform them so you can actually enjoy them, or change it, walk away, do something different, but in a way that you don't feel completely disempowered, okay, and too afraid of that change. So the steps it takes to do that, okay. So that's all we want to know, really. We just want to know that we're going to be okay, right? So in order for that to happen, we shut down a lot of options, okay, to stay in our comfort, to stay in our so-called comfort and security, and that idea of safety, which is also just being in denial, right? And then we create, on top of that, we start to allow this to continue. We create belief systems and dependencies all around it, okay? Even when we see, even when it flies in the face of logic, when it flies in the face of even science, right? When it flies in the face of evidence to the contrary that something's not right, yeah? Something needs to be taken and have a look at, because that's not how you're feeling right now, okay? We hold on to these false beliefs, these false ideas, clinging on to what we thought something was going to be, because we were told it was going to be that in our conditioning, and we're sticking with it, whether that's work, marriage, way of being, way of speaking, anything at all, where you are with your children, whatever it is, we cling on to it, right? Because it's part of our conditioning. And the reason why it's happening is not because we're messed up people that are, consciously in self-denial and wanting to mess everything up. Not at all. There's nothing wrong with you. There's nothing wrong with me. There's nothing wrong with any of us. It's because we have what I call a root wound, old wounds that are hard to, and it's hard to get rid of them and really enjoy what you've already created. Well, it's not that you have to get rid of it all. Some people think that. They think, change means I have to leave my husband, I have to leave my job, I have to change the way I am with my kids, I have to change my friends. Nothing can stay the same. Not necessarily. And if it was to come to any of those things, you would be doing it from a gracefully empowered place where there isn't loads of fear and all of that, okay? And have that power within you. That's how this works. So because of those old wounds that we never get to, they're so deep buried in the subconscious, because of that and because of the denial, we push through because we want to be in that, and I do this, in that comfort, right? Creatures of comfort, creatures of keeping things the same at any cost, because we don't know what's going to happen if we don't, right? Even in the face of a ton of evidence to the contrary, even in the face of logic, even in the face of science, right? We will just, not interested, right? We're more interested in staying in our fear, in our wounds, in our conditioning. And you may not know it as that right now, or you may know it as that right now, depending where you are in your journey. So we stay stuck. This is how we get stuck, right? And we almost get used to that feeling of just a bit of stuckness, a little discontent, yeah? So let me know if that makes sense to you. Let me have your questions. If there's any questions you have, feel free to ask them. All I ask is at the end of these lives or at some point to let me know if this helps you, okay? So you can just say, yes, this helped. No, it didn't help. That's okay too. I can take it, right? And or if you're really, really kind, then to let me know what was the biggest thing you took away, yeah, from each of these little talks. That would be just so amazing for me, yeah? So thank you for that. So we're holding on to these beliefs, yeah, and these fictional stories because they make us feel safe and comfortable. They don't require us to change, right? Safe and comfortable to a degree, yeah, at times we feel lost, we don't feel connected to ourselves, so it's not really safe and comfortable, but it's just what we've always known. And the ego, which is inbuilt into us, and the root wound, which is sitting there within us, will always want that, even if it's not a nice, it's not a nice place to stay in. It will we'll stay in that. We'll stay in that family. We'll stay in that marriage. We'll let it stay the same. We won't try to improve it. We'll stay in that career. Why? Because it already knows that. So there's a certainty to that. We know what that is, right? Over here in the future, we don't know what that's going to look like. So the ego and the root wound will be going psycho to pull you back to here and say, well, this is really scary. We don't want to go here, which is also denial, not true. You don't know what's going to exist there. And actually, you are able to create when you can step into your true self, okay? But when you're coming from fear, it's telling you this isn't safe over here in the future, right? Or it will look to the past and say, well, this is what's good. You decided this, and this is what works. Stick to that, no matter what. Even if in the present, it's not working, right? So that's denial, and this is denial. I hope I'm making sense. So we have a hard time letting them go, right? This is kind of automatic, autopilot resistance, ego and wounds that we have no awareness of or some awareness of, but they're flipping stronger than us, right? Unless we know how to handle it and actually get what we desire, okay? So we want to pretend, like I said, that we can predict the future as humans, and then we create patterns and beliefs that are designed to keep us cozy, right? And I say like this, cozy in a sense, right? That nothing changes, so it's what you know. But you know that something's up. You know that something is up. So we create kind of ideological tribes. So I think, way back in the past, we used to live in villages and tribes, people that look like us, sound like us, have the same ideas as us. And now we don't. The majority of us now live in big cosmopolitan cities or big cities and towns. And we're much more segregated, if you like, right? So we now create our own ideological tribes, whether that's online or at the moment online, but or the community that you've chosen for yourself, right? And then we fit into that, right? We don't want to break that. You do your degree, you have a corporate career, you get married, you have kids, and this is where you're at, and this is COVID-19, and this is how you should feel about it, and this is what you should be caring about, and you kind of got to fit into that. And if you don't, then there's a fear you'll be rejected from that tribe, which is the penultimate fear of the egos, that you'll be rejected. It's a false fear. Yeah, these are those fictional stories we're telling ourselves at a deeper level. I'm not saying they're on your conscious level, okay? So I'm allowing you to just see inside what could be going on right now. The reason we do that is to find those tribes. And sometimes we're in these tribes and we're thinking, do I even like this tribe? Do I even like what they're saying? Do they actually make me feel good? Right? I'm trying to get these people to like me, but do I even like them? Right? I used to try to get everybody to like me, and I was like, well, hold on, do I even like them? Right? It's kind of nuts what we do, right? But it's on that kind, because we are animalistic, but as humans we think we're superior to that, right? And this is a problem. This is why we think we can control everything, we can predict the future. Even countries like America that you would think could handle this crisis don't have all the resources they need. One of the richest economies in the world. So it just shows, right, that we cannot predict the future. We cannot control it. It doesn't matter who you are, what color you are, how successful you are, how pretty you are, how, all of that doesn't matter. Because at the end of the day, we are animalistic too, right? We're the same as animals, if that makes sense. That we are creatures of denial, right? And we are creatures of that comfort. And we think we need our tribe to say safe. We do need a tribe, but we need our tribe to be who we truly are. And a lot of the time what we've done is that we're out of the conditioning and the root wound that we've built up from the past, we've taken it into our present, and we're in relationships, work, tribes, ways of being and living, that something just doesn't feel right, because you've separated from your true source, your true self, okay? That doesn't mean you have to get rid of anything. I know the fears are, well, I know what you're saying is true, Anita, but I don't want to get rid of it. That's too scary. Now we're over here right in the future. Everything's going to go wrong. I'm going to lose everything. I'm going to have no love, no money, no nothing. I've worked so hard for this. I can't let it go. And that is denial. A lie, right? False evidence appearing real. It's fear, okay, which I've talked about a lot. So it doesn't mean that, everything. I've had clients that have been in miserable situations, unhappy from the inside, even though everything looked great on the outside, on the surface, because that was required, right, to keep in the tribe. And I've had them have 360 transformations in their lives and their relationships. For example, with their husbands, that the marriage seemed hopeless and not something that could move forward, and for that to happen very quickly when they dealt with the root wound, when they dealt with those false beliefs, those fictional stories that they're telling themselves, and have them release, and without having to actually confront anyone else or their husbands or whatever the outside thing is that they're not enjoying or don't feel completely connected to, and have that transform, okay? Because everyone is just a reflection of who we are anyway, right? Because we are a little bit blind to it, or a lot blind to it, which keeps us in denial because of all these different parts that are going on, not because we're stupid, that the way the universe works, the way it works is that it's going to reflect it back to you. So you're like, whoa, where's my part? Usually intimate relationships. What's going on there? But they're reflecting something that is in you, right? That requires some healing and releasing. So it doesn't mean all is lost, okay? Unless you decide. And then it's a very empowered decision from your standards, what you want for yourself, what feels good for you, what is your purpose, so you can craft and design your life with love, okay? So, and I know a lot of people may be watching this and saying, well, I'm not in denial, right? I'm not a creature of denial. I see the facts. I know what's going on, yeah? And I totally get that. But to be true, we are in some kind of denial, small or big, yeah? And maybe you're right. Maybe you're not in denial, I haven't met anyone that's not in any denial at all, but possibly, that's good. And I'll tell you a small denial, yeah, and a challenge, that things that may be going on, to help you identify how far in denial you may be in and how fearful you are of change, okay? And I will challenge anyone to tell me that they've never experienced these feelings or ways of being. I challenge you to tell me that with love. So, for example, we blame ourselves for everything, right? And we do not see where it's really coming from. So we're very hard on ourselves. So we're hard on other people. So we blame outwardly, okay? If we're blaming someone outwardly, anybody, husband, children, colleagues, boss, yeah, even, I don't care how bad the situation is. I know that's hard to take in, depending where you are on this journey. That's being in denial, okay? Because there's something deeper going on within you that is bringing all of this forward for you, for the higher good, right? To bring you to your purpose, to your fulfillment, to who you really are. That's why it's happening. I always say, you probably hear me say over and over again, what's happening in the world right now on a wider global scale, this pandemic, is exaggerating fears, denial, that were already there for us as individuals, but we were ignoring and being in denial about. And now there's a calling to change that. Yeah? So it's an exaggeration. It feels exaggerated. We can put it on this outside thing, but really it's an inside thing. Okay? Let me know if that makes sense. So that is denial. You know, and then even smaller things like if we eat burgers, fries, fried food, and then we get ill, that's a form of denial, right? We tell, oh, it's fine, right? Even the smaller little things that we're doing. Or we marry someone without knowing who we are. I've done that a couple of times, right? For those of you that know my story. And then, you know, it falls apart, right? And we are in shock. We are in shock that this is happening. That is denial. Because when you marry someone and you don't know who you are, and they show you who they are, it's like, whoa, are we allowed to do that? Because you haven't given yourself permission to do that. And it's, woo, yeah. So it doesn't mean it can't turn around, but I just want to highlight these things, okay, for you. So you can assess for yourself, you know, where am I in denial? Okay, so anytime you're in shock about something, that is an indicator there's some level of denial going on, some resistance to change. So, because it's very hard to admit this stuff, right? And I totally get it. It's really hard to admit this stuff. But actually, when you do that, that is what sets you free. Okay, that is what sets you free. No matter what's happening in the world, okay, and within your own lives, you know, because personal crisis, personal difficult situations are here for a reason. They're here to grow us. They're not here to like ruin your life. Even this pandemic, right, is here to grow us. It's here to bring something to us. Yes, many people have died, which is real and happening, yeah, and many people won't, okay, and it's about how we, and definitely we're taking precautions, and that's all good. I'm not saying that, but how are we going to move forward from this? Now we realize that we cannot predict the future, we cannot control everything, and why is it really here, right? What is it here to teach us? Just like anything that happens in your life that goes wrong, right, or doesn't feel good, rather than looking at it and saying, oh my God, how can this be happening to me? If just that person wasn't doing this, you know, if that person did this, or if there was a cure, if some outside source found the cure, and actually the answers are all within you. And actually, well, what is this here to teach me? Okay, make sense? So another way you know if you're in denial is if you are in the energies or doing things, being in a way that you are pretending, wearing a mask. I talked about wearing masks the other day. Pleasing, if you're a people pleaser, I was a hardcore people pleaser. So if you're doing that, there's definitely denial going on. Or if you're trying to prove yourself to anyone else, or prove yourself even to yourself, okay? Because you're already good enough. You have nothing to prove. You have nothing to prove. But it lets you know that you're in denial. We want to pick up on the indicators that this is happening for us, and that there's another way, right? We can do that inner work. So when we're wearing those masks, when we are people pleasing, so just notice when you're doing this, and notice what that means. I am in some level of denial. There is something I am missing out on for myself and my own being and my relationship with myself and my life and who I really am, what I'm here to do, who I'm here to be, and the impact I'm here to have. You know, there's a real calling at the moment for us to activate authenticity, to become more real and vulnerable than ever before, right? And it is. I mean, you can see what's happening right now as the world comes together. All these communities coming together online, exercise classes, cocktail parties. I've seen a festival online all weekend. I used to live in South London. That's being beamed from South London, from people's homes. You know, really coming together, helping each other out, free food, lots of help from the governments. I mean, it's insane that all of this humanity was already there, but we were separate. We were in separation, right? We want in this togetherness. Now we have a chance to see if we're just going to, once this is over, which it will be, if we're going to go back to that way of being, or we just go separated again, or we actually have this real oneness that's going on right now, right? I don't know if you've experienced that oneness that is going on right now, which is a really beautiful thing, right? And this is the way we're meant to be, in our authenticity and in our love. But will that continue, or will we just break it back apart and be separated and back to that you versus me kind of energy? Yeah. So when we are not happy in ourselves and our relationship, connection, let me know if you can still hear me. Guys that are online, I can see a few of you. Clyda, Visa, Emily, Angela, Jennifer. Let me know if you can still hear me. I'm going to wrap up in a few minutes. Otherwise, I'll never shut up. So, I'm just looking at my notes here because I do tend to go off. So, when we are not happy in ourselves and our relationships, and we do nothing about it, that is denial. Okay, that is that creature of comfort, yeah, that is going on. When we think we can't create the life that we want, when we think there are limitations, we are in denial, yeah. False beliefs about our own abilities is what's going on, yep, also known as fear, okay. When we think that we must have, no fear to make a move in life, to actually, recognize this and start to work on it, we are in denial, right? You can just see this denial is everywhere, right? It's all around us. When we think power is outside of us and an outside person, husband, governments, leaders can solve the situation for us, we are in denial, right? Because it comes from within us. Okay, these are big, broad things I'm sharing, but just to get that point across, okay? So in the current times, we have a problem, right? Because we told ourselves that we're superior to animals, for example, right? That we don't have these innate things that kick off, that keep us stuck, right? We told ourselves that we can predict the future, right? And we don't like the thought that we can't, and it's happened, right? On that human level, on that ego level, I mean, not at every level, obviously, there's a lot going on. It shows us what we didn't want to see, right? The denial is kind of taking the veil off and go, boom, there you go, take that. It's like, whoa, what's going on? And we think that once we find the cure, maybe, for COVID-19 from the outside, that we can go back to thinking that we can control things, right? And we can go back to the pretending, all of which is denial, right? It's denial. It's and we can go back to the inauthenticity, which is the thing that makes me the most sad. Most of us are living inauthentic, not being ourselves completely, put simply. It's a freaking art, and it takes a lot of bravery just to be yourself in this world, right? Because the fear of all the judgment and all of that jazz, okay? And so we go back to that comfort. And that's, my commitment is that we don't do that. As many women as possible that I can help. And if I help women, that it just goes on and on and on. It's like osmosis, right? So this is precisely why all of this is happening. In my view, it's a golden opportunity to see it's okay. We don't need to predict the future. We don't need to control things. We now need to understand why we are here, who we are, what we have always been in denial in. And one question you can ask yourself is, what's not serving me? What wasn't serving me before COVID-19? Let me be really honest with myself. Yeah? You don't have to do anything about it right now, but you can just start to open that up. Nothing bad's going to happen. The roof isn't going to fall in on you if you admit these things to yourself. What is not serving me right now? What was I in denial about? Or what am I in denial about now? Yeah, which is an uncomfortable truth. I get it. And I get that, but that is where transformation and change happens, okay? And that is when we start to learn we are more than just our masculine, our head, our logic, the way the systems have been created in this old paradigm. We have an opportunity to make a new paradigm where there is oneness, where there is authenticity, where there is love, where there is vulnerability, where everybody is being themselves, right? We have that opportunity for you to create and craft your life, rather than just let life happen to you and go, well, I've got no choice. It's all outside of me, right? Denial, right? Again, it's not, right? So now then we can start to understand that we have always been in denial. And it also allows us to start to understand that there's more to us, way more to us. That we have a soul, we have a heart. We've forgotten about these things, right? and they actually have a purpose. We can actually use these things, right? That we've just switched off and said, well, you're useless because you're not logical. And they're actually a big part of who we are, where our longings come from, where our reason for being comes from. And we have spirit around us and source, okay? Whatever you want to call it, something bigger than us, okay? And there's a higher peace to us that is not the crisis or the difficult situation that may be in your life right now, and the global one, if that's what you think it is. And it's not that on its own, right? It's exaggerating your personal stuff, okay? And that's what. So step out of that denial today and look at what your personal stuff is and what it's exaggerating for you, yeah? And then we have our knee-jerk, autopilot response to it. Fear, just stay in comfort, right? And then we have this higher response when we can just observe those things and go, this is what my usual response would be, but what's going on here? What would be that third level response, if you like, yeah? From your higher self, which comes from your soul, your spirit, from your heart, all kinds of stuff, okay? So know there is more to you, and there's ability to go there. And when we go to that third place, that's when we get into a transformational place, yeah? In every respect, not just for ourselves. When we come to that place and we respond to others from that place, we start to create change that we didn't think was possible in our relationships, in our work, in ourselves, because we've taken personal responsibility for that, okay? So, and then in that, when we realize that very next moment is unknown, so the only way to live in the future is to get to know who you really are now, what is keeping you stuck, what you might be in denial about. I'm just going to take a sip of water. And how to utilize every part of your wonderful self, all those parts I've mentioned to you, even if you're like, what is she talking about? Or you're like, okay, something's speaking to me, that's good. To literally create and craft and design a future where there is oneness with yourself, so you feel like one with yourself, comfortable in your own skin, authentic, and that will allow oneness with the world, okay, around us. So ask yourself, is the way I was living or been living, did it feel wrong at some level? Yeah, but you could not put your finger on it. And if that is the case, that's what's based on that root wound, that conditioning, that ego, and thinking we can predict the future. And if we just follow this system and formula, we will be happy, right? Do as you're told, get your education, get married, have kids, whatever it may be, right? And then you get there and you're like, what shit? Not happy. What's happened? Something's wrong with me. Right? There's nothing wrong with you. And that's when the guilt comes in, okay? And now we have this opportunity right now to really blow this up. Just blow this up. Blow this myth up. Blow the denial up. And know that it's not true. And we can live from our truth, right? From who we really are. We can heal our root wound and the deeper root wound of this world as we do that. It starts with me and you, each individual, right? Not from outside of us. Because that stuff doesn't even belong to you. So you can have that sense of belonging and oneness with yourself and take advantage of this crisis. And I'll say crisis like that, because crisis actually means turning point, right? So it's a turning point for us all. And we can adapt ourselves now to find our true selves. We have a moment in time in order for this to happen. And we can stop clinging, right, to the lies and the denial. And that's what I'm going to invite you to do today, okay? And get really courageous. And look, at what in the past was not working for you. So actually spend some time writing that down. What wasn't working for me? Just start to acknowledge that. Even that will start to dissipate things and allow you to move into a more authentic place, okay? So we can really adapt and go back into the world when this is all over with humility, knowing who you are, knowing your gift, knowing your purpose, instead of living in half misery, thinking you have to stay safe, you have to predict the future, you have to pretend that you're something you're not fully, to keep safe. Okay, so we pretend, so if you're pretending I'm happy, yeah, but inside there's something going on, it's time to go, you know what, yes, I have good things in my life, but I have something here that I'd like to work on. Or actually, my whole life's fucking miserable. You know, I've done so much work for it and it's not quite what I want. Either way, it's okay, wherever you are on that spectrum, okay? It's about taking those masks off, guys, yeah? Taking that veil down and just diving in, right? Wherever you find your place to do that work and saying, well, I thought it was this, but it's not anymore, right? Doesn't matter what you thought things were going to be, but they're not quite what you thought. And that's okay. That's okay. It's looking at, does it still work for you? Just because you thought something was going to be something and it's not, whether it's a career, a relationship, anything at all, how you're feeling in yourself. But is it working for you now? Okay? So it doesn't mean like you have to lose everything. It's about transforming it or changing it completely. That's up to you. You get to decide what you want and create, okay, in this world. So that means to live more awake, right? To have more awareness, rather than just letting that denial go on and on and on when we know deep down it's true. And really live in our worth. So most of us grew up on some level thinking we are unworthy. Okay, so most of us numb out in avoidance things without realizing. I know the obvious ones are like drinking or taking drugs and all of that. That's definitely a numb out for some people, depending on how you're using it. And the same with everything. You can do everything in a healthy or a non-healthy way. You can do everything in a way that's denial or wrapped up in who you are and your truth. It depends where it's coming from, okay? So I'm not saying these things are bad, but, in your work, being really busy, in the doing, in helping everyone else out and being a people pleaser, yeah? That's where the denial starts to come in, okay? And keeps us away from our truth, if that makes sense. So for the first time, we get to come together in this oneness, and I'd really love to carry that on, okay? So that's it. So let me know what level of denial you believe you are in, if any. So 0 to 10, I'd love to know. Let me know if this has helped you. Give me a thumbs up. Give me a comment. Let me know if this helped me or this had an impact. If this is the biggest thing I took away from it, I'd be really grateful for that. Anything else I wanted to say? I had loads of notes here. Yeah, I think I said it all, right? So that's my rant over for today. So I hope you understand more about the truth about denial and why we are so resistant to change, and that it is possible for you. And for those of you that are ready to go, well, I'm doing this. Yeah, I want to have a look and do this. I am hosting a free workshop series. It's completely free. It's called the Secret Workshop Series, right? And it's called Getting Unstuck from the secrets that are keeping you stuck, okay? Getting unstuck from the secrets that are keeping you stuck, okay? I don't think it's called that. It's called something like that. Yeah, my head's spinning. It's in the comments above, okay? But you will learn the secrets beneath, like I'm revealing them here. Like we have this denial going on. We have these different parts of us, and you're going to really get to dive in and implement it and actually go through a journey of change, okay? So have a look at it. There's more details in the link. I'm not explaining it very well. I think all this relaxing and retreating, it just gets you chilled. So massive love to you. Massive happy Easter to you all, wherever you are. Thank you for being here, everyone. And I shall be back tomorrow, I hope, at some point for a live, all being well. Sending you lots of love. Happy Easter. Bye.